This is Dolynny TV, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, and welcome back to another edition of Edmonton Oilers discussion here on the channel today. And let me tell you, as my nose gets itchy right off the bat, is the fact that, well, we find ourselves back at practice today due to the Oilers, and we find ourselves getting prepared for that game tomorrow night against the Winnipeg Jets with Puljujarvi in tow. And oh, by the way, Ethan Bear's back on the ice with the Oilers, practicing in a whole new setup for both him and, well, the Edmonton Oilers in general under Dave Tippett. If you're new to the channel, what I want you to do here in the next 5 or 10 minutes is consider hitting that subscribe button to stay tuned for that Monday night edition of some intermission stuff, pregame stuff, postgame stuff, because it'll be a doozy, I am sure. But what I need to get to you right now is yes, Puljujarvi, like we knew, he cleared quarantine and all that and protocols, and so he's back, he's ready to go, and he is back with the Oilers this morning at practice. But the bigger, larger news is the fact that the Edmonton Oilers line rushed, so they set up line rushes this morning with Ethan Bear on the right side and, oh my goodness, Evan Bouchard on the left side. We've talked about this for a couple of just about a week or so now, and it now appears that this is the way it might end up going for the Oilers, is two right-hand shot defensemen on the third pair. Now, there was talk earlier today of how you want to set it up because, right, is you've got a penalty kill, you've got to do it all right according to how it needs to be done, right? You need as many defenders on the power play and penalty kill as you possibly can, i.e., according to Kurt Levens, that's why Caleb Jones doesn't fit currently into the Oilers' strategy and lines, simply because he really isn't a penalty killer and he really isn't a power play player. So when that leaves him at about 10 to 12 minutes a night, that's a lot of minutes for a guy like Nurse, a guy like Barrie, Larson, Legason, Bouchard, and now potentially, if he is ready to return on Monday, Ethan Bear, who will welcome back into a big role here on this team. But you look at this is kind of the evolution of the Oilers defense over the span of the first 18 games, is the fact that by game number 18 we could be walking into this setup here, and this is nowhere near what we thought the lineup would be after game 5, considering, right, what did we start with? Nurse, Bear, Jones, Larson, I believe Cuckoo, and who was it? Cuckoo and Barrie were the third pair. Like, there's a lot that's gone on with this Oilers lineup so far through the first several games of the season, just past the quarter mark. And you think Nurse, Barrie, that's the biggest kind of revelation we've had in terms of, you know what, you sit together your best two offensive defensemen and they come together and form a pair that's equally as good defensively when needed to be, right? Obviously, Ottawa, you don't need to be great defensively to hold them off the score sheet, but it worked still against Montreal, so it's not like it's a pair that's only good against the basement dwellers, so that's good news for us. Legas and Larson, that pair's been phenomenal. I think Adam Larson, since that pair's been put together, he's only been on the ice for one goal against even strength or something. That's ridiculous compared to how he started the year. Evan Bouchard, Ethan Bear, while this is kind of the next evolution of the Oilers defense, is for the time being you have to get your best players playing in the lineup, and that means you've got to have 4 right-hand shot defensemen, not 4 left-hand shot defensemen. And so Bouchard has played his way into what appears, based on this here, a regular lineup role, and that is, I think, what everybody was hoping Bouchard would get earlier in the season. Oilers figured out what they had in a guy like Legason, Barrie, Nurse, and Larson. Bear went down, Bouchard came in, and it's all been roses pretty much since, right? For Evan Bouchard, who's just really taken ownership. And what I want to give you here in a second is I've wanted to talk specifically about the defense for a while. And let's see what we got going on here. If I can find this. EdmontonOilers.com. And stats. That's what I'm looking for, is defenseman stats for the Oilers. So you've got Darnell Nurse, second in team scoring, or third, pardon me, tied with Tyson Barrie at 12 points. Nuge is right behind them at 11. You've got then following down the list is Adam Larsson with 4 points. You've got, I don't know who else. Evan Bouchard with 2 points. I don't know. Ethan Bear with 2 points in 9 games. William Lagesson with 2 points in 9 games. Slater Cuckoo with a goal. You've got Chris Russell with a point. You've got Caleb Jones with a point. So everybody's had some points to be proud of to start this season. The defense doesn't regularly do this. So the fact that our defense has done this so far is absolutely fantastic for us. And Adam Larsson, who struggled mightily out of the gate, thank goodness he scored those 2 goals for us. He's up to 4 points on the year in 16 games. You're kidding yourself if you wouldn't take out of Adam Larsson 0.25 points per game this season. That would be phenomenal to get. And out of Tyson Barrie and Darnell Nurse 0.75 points per game, that's a huge get for the Oilers as well as it currently stands. So things starting to shape up well on the back end, and now you're starting to see the evolution of the defense at the same time as the Oilers shape up the next crop of kind of defensemen that this team will see, right? Darnell Nurse propping himself into a number 1 role, hopefully becoming that number 1 defenseman the Oilers have needed for so long, and he's got time, right? He's 25, 26, so by the time he's 28, 100% he could be full bona fide first defenseman on this team, and nobody can argue that. Problem is, we're still 2 years away from that probably, so everybody's going to continue to argue it until everybody just accepts the fact. And that is based on right now. I'm not talking previous, I'm not talking the future, I'm talking right now through 16 games what Darnell Nurse has done. But then you've also got Tyson Barrie, who's trying to figure out if he's going to be a long-term solution here in Edmonton. Probably not, maybe so. Depends how much salary they can end up giving him to keep him. And then you've got Adam Larsson, who's coming back, having a great little comeback after maybe the first 8 games were rough. Now all of a sudden he's kind of, right, do you sign him, don't you? And you look at that right side, Ethan Bear, Evan Bouchard, they're guarantees here. They are guarantees here for a long, long time by the looks of it. So you kind of look how this all works out. Russell's gone, hopefully, in the Seattle expansion draft, if not traded as soon as that new contract kicks in. Slater Cuckoo probably won't be renewed. And then, of course, Caleb Jones, the ultimate what do you do at this point when it comes to a young defender that realistically doesn't look to have a spot on this team at this current moment. So it's interesting to see what ends up happening at this point. So, ladies and gentlemen, new defensive pairings for the Oilers, new kind of uncharted territory under Dave Tippett. Hopefully that we'll get to see tomorrow night against Winnipeg, should Ethan Bear be healthy and ready to go against the Winnipeg Jets. I'm Tyson, this is Dolynny TV. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will catch you in the next one.